They were down everybody.
Yes, ma'am. No, I work at the library.
Okay. Somebody I know is about to that.
This space, this is the community room, but it also doubled the team. They use this room as well. So they had the GameCube plugged in over there, and they were playing.
They really are.
Sorry, I'm not employed, and I used to work in this space a little bit 10 years ago, so like, I remember being on.
I know we're at.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. Thank you. It's so great to have so many people in this room. This is wonderful. Thank you all for being here. My name is Deborah Sharp, and I'm the branch manager here at the University City Regional Library. It's so nice to see some familiar faces out there as well. So thank you all for being here. Just a few housekeeping things before we get started. Restrooms are located just beyond the service desk right outside here. This is a emergency exit, just out the door and follow the sidewalk around to the building. We do ask that you silence your phones while we're in here tonight. And if you need to make a call, you can step out to the entryway or into the lobby. So thank you very much for that. And it is now my pleasure to introduce the library CEO and Chief Librarian, Marcellus Turner. So I will turn it over to Mr. Turner. Thank you.
Thank you. And good evening and welcome everyone for coming out. I can tell you have an opinion and you are interested in hearing about this library, so we're really excited to have you with us. As Deborah shared, I'm MT. I'm the Chief Librarian and CEO for the organization, and we're really excited to be here and have you here with us. They gave me a whole page of points, but I'm going to try to stick to them as much as I can. Most importantly, we want to give you an opportunity to hear about the new library and share with you what will occur. I've gotten several questions already. You're going to get everything answered that you have a question for tonight. So that's the beauty of tonight's program. So we're really excited about that. But I also want to share with you that that new library is going to be something that you're going to be quite proud of, as well as we are. It's going to have story times, programs, events, just like here. And of course, we're going to have books. So I don't want anyone to think that we won't have books in this new location. In a few minutes, you're going to hear from several people talking about the event. We're happy to have library staff here, but also Gensler, the architects designing the facility. We have our wonderful partners with Assets and Facilities Management from the county. So you have everyone here tonight who can answer a question for you. So we're really excited about that. We're really glad to have University City Partners here with us tonight. So we're excited for that. And with that, I want to turn it over to the person who leads this project for us, David Dillard, who is our library's real estate director. So David, it's your turn.
Okay, terrific. Thanks, MT. I'm David Dillard. I'm the real estate director for the library system. It's an awful lot of fun because I get to work with librarians. I'm a native Charlottean. I've been in the real estate business for about 35 years. I joined the library 4 years ago. But you don't need to know about me right now. Because I probably owe some of you money, and I'm afraid you're going to recognize me and come and ask me. Greg Watson with EB Aero is Executive Vice President of Development for that company. They're the company that's developing this library for us. Greg's daughter had a presentation in Texas, and so he's not able to join us. So I'm going to pretend I'm Greg. EB Aero is a large real estate development company that specializes in mixed-use projects. They do it all over the country. They've got over $3.5 billion worth of real estate development invested. They're headquartered in Texas. They have proven themselves to be really innovative and accountable and collaborative and, quite frankly, patient with us, which we're thrilled of. As they've been being that, they've kept their eyes focused on creating something that's going to be really good for the community. In 2018, at the end of 2018, EB Aero purchased 2 parcels of land on the other side of the University Shops Lakes. So the big box retail development and something across the street. Why'd they do that? The 3 viable retailers that this community had supported, which was Michael's, Ross Dress for Less, and Office Depot, wanted to stay in the area, but they knew that that development was going to be demolished and redeveloped. So EB Aero bought the property across the street and redeveloped that so that those retailers that knew the community could stay in the community. Now, granted, they want to make money, so they want you to do that and stay with them. But this is the development where they are now. So the interesting part of this is that when EB Aero bought the property, it hadn't been rezoned. Most developers don't do that. Take $18 million, buy the land, then go for the rezoning. The guys were committed to making this happen. Now, I'll also tell you, I see Toby Holmes in the back. University City Partners was instrumental and a key partner with them and with us on helping them understand what the community needed. A new kind of a hub, a new center city for University City, really. And they pushed for the library to be an integral part of that and to be the center of that development. It has taken us a while to get to the point where all that's approved, all that's funded. We'll build a new 2-story, the largest regional library that we have in our system up here in the University City, on the site that's adjacent to the University City Shops. So behind the Hilton, across the lake from Boardwalk Billy's. This site is great for us because accessibility is wonderful. It's easily accessed from W.T. Harris or from Trine Street. It's close to the light rail station. It's close to the Barton Creek Greenway, which tags into the Mallard Creek Greenway. It's across the street from shopping and dining. It's a great location. Phase 1 of this Water's Edge development, I think, yes. And these photographs are old, but they're all I had in my phone, so I'm putting them up here. Crescent Communities is building a little over 300 apartments right there on the lake, and they're going to be adjacent to the library. So we're going to have some built-in neighbors, and if you're looking for a place to live, they're going to open soon. One of the great things about this is rather than look at the back of that big box retail development, you're now looking at these beautiful new apartments. EB Aero is spending money to enhance the edge of the lake. It's really becoming a linear park. So it's going to be an amenity for the entire community. EB Aero fought really hard for the library to be a part of the development. We fought really hard to make that happen as well. Most of you probably don't know that the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library is not a department of the city or the county, but we're funded by the county. And so we had to make sure all the ducks were aligned. It took a lot of work, but we finally got it done. So EB Aero is going to develop this building, and we should be in by the end of 2025 or so. And so what we are, 24. Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you. I'm thinking of something else. Forget I said that. 2024, okay? 25.
What?
Thank you.
It's 7:25.
Sometime this decade?
We'll be in this property as soon as it's built. And we anticipate staying here until that's built. There you go. What else do I want to say? If you didn't know, we're on land that's owned by the hospital authority, and they've been very gracious to us, not only to sign a long-term lease for us to be here this long, but they've extended a couple times so that we can meet the deadline of building this out. That's all I really want to say. So if you have any questions about the development portion of this, I'll be happy to answer those, but the purpose of this meeting is to engage you on some things that I'm going to let my friends from Gensler, who's the architectural firm that has been engaged to do this. Gensler has a Charlotte office. It's one of 53 around the world, and these are 4 of the 7,000 employees that they have. I've had the pleasure of working with Gensler on a number of other projects, and I'm thrilled that they're working on this one because all the other projects I worked with them on were very successful. So Vincent Spencer, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can do what you want to.
All right. Thank you so much, David.
I'll just put this down here.
Yeah,
You want to go to
that's fine.
other images?
Good evening to each and all of you. Thank you so much for coming out. We're excited about your presence. We're excited about this project. I will tell you, it's been an absolute pleasure working with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library and their team, along with Mecklenburg County. We have our partners, J.E. Dunn, that are here, and our client, Mr. Greg Watson, which is part of the EB Aero Development Group. So we're excited about everything that's moving forward. The team has been absolutely excited about this day. I think they've been more excited about this day than the actual project during design. So we're glad to have each and every one of you here. Again, my name is Vincent Spencer. I'm the project manager for Gensler. Gensler, again, is an international architecture and interiors design firm. Just as David mentioned, we are over 7,000 strong, and we have practice area expertise throughout the world. So we're glad to share our expertise and energy and hear everything that you have to input to us today to make sure that we incorporate that into the design. I have my colleagues here, Mr. Keith Frankel, standing right there, just raise his hand, Emerson Stolt, Dana Dimrow, and Isis Baldwin. Keith Frankel is our design director for architecture. Emerson Stolt is a project architect on the team, and then Dana is our lead senior interior designer, and Isis is also an interior designer on the project with us today. So we're going to run through a couple quick activities that we have for you. We want you to stand up, stretch your legs, ask us questions, get involved, and that team is going to lead us through that. So again, we're representing Gensler. We're glad to be here today, and we welcome each and every one. With that, I'll turn it over to Keith, who's going to give you a brief overview about the project.
Yeah, so as David mentioned earlier, and you saw the image that was on the front of the screen early on, that was very early on. It was very conceptual. We were still very early on in this process. And so today is really more about input from you all and gathering that input. We want to hear more from you and from the community about what this library needs to be able to do for the community, right? And so Emerson and Dana are going to walk us through some of these activities we want to get the legs moving and get up here and have a good conversation, because I know sometimes some people don't want to speak up in a large group. We have options for you to work through and grab some Post-its, write your thoughts, And we can also start to see how that's coming together, and we can have a larger conversation on that. But again, we really want to gather the input from you all so that as we are continuing the design on this, we can look and do everything that we need to make this as a successful project as it needs to be. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dana. She can explain some of our activities here.
All right. So one activity that we have, you'll see these two boards over here that have a handful of image collections. All of these have just been pulled at a high level for inspiration for some of the really active and engaging spaces that we are looking to potentially incorporate into the library. So we have a section dedicated to ideas around community art, ideas for areas of respite. We're really looking to activate some exterior spaces and really drawing people towards natural daylight. We have some images just speaking to the stair and entry experience, as well as the main corridor in the space, and really looking to start to activate that and have some nice areas for people to gather. As well as the team programming room, youth programming, some work lounge spaces for people to study, work, etc. And then some study pods, some kind of enclosed spaces for people to do focus work as well. So again, these are just intended to be some inspiration images, and what we'd like you to do, we have 3 different sticky dots. So we have red, yellow, and green. So the intent here is that you would be able to kind of take one of these dots. So green would be representative of something that resonates with you. So if you see an image that you like on the board, you would take a green dot and stick it on that image. Yellow would be something that's more neutral. You're not super passionate one way or the other about that particular image. And then red would be something that, it really isn't resonating with you and wouldn't be something that you'd like to see in the future library. So we have these sticky dots kind of spread throughout the space. So once we get to that interactive portion, feel free to stick these all over the images.
Yes.
How you doing, everyone? I'm Emerson. I'm another architect on the team. On this side, you'll see some of these more less colorful boards, and these are more open-ended. These are intended for you to take a marker and a sticky note, and this one is a couple of questions we want you to respond to. So, what's unique about the University City community here, and what unique about this community needs to be reflected in what happens in the new library. And describe the ideal character of the University City area as we look towards the future. And so, you want to fill out these sticky notes, and with whatever comes to mind for these questions, and slap them on the board. And then these two are identical. We've got these lists here are reflective of some of those spaces and all the different types of spaces we're going to have in the library. We've got the community room, youth programming, periodicals, adult computers, all of these different types of programming. And we want you to rank those sort of high, medium, low on how important that type of space is to you, so that we know what we need to focus on as we design this building. And then right here is on both of these columns right here are what are the experiential qualities that you would like to see incorporated into the design of the new building. And so for me, a big one that's important to me is daylight. So I'm sticking that one right here. I want to see daylight in this new building. I want to have light in those spaces so it doesn't feel dark and dreary. It feels really active. And for me, I've got the community room like this. I think that's important to the design of the new library. So I'm going to put that up here. Number 1, that's important to me. And so when we kick this off, I want you to do the same. Grab some markers and some sticky notes and fill these boards up, because we want to take these home with us and really direct the design of this project.
And just know there's no particular order to any of these. Feel free to jump at any of these at any particular time. You don't have to start on the left side and work your way to the right. You can start in the middle, then work your way to the left. However way you want to do it, we certainly want you to just feel comfortable and interact with all of these. And do keep in mind, this is all cohesive. So let's say if you put a red one over here, tell us why over there. Give us that feedback so we can make that connection as to, hey, I didn't like that particular look at the space, so that inspired me to think about some of the things that I didn't like over there. I'd like to see it and put it up on the Post-it note over here. Sounds good? Any questions? Yes.
Question about, for example, materials that you have here. I went through the So I guess the question becomes, how do we communicate things that we suggest with material? And I'm just curious as to whether or not all material be on ebooks as well.
Material relating to the library, right? Publications, things of that nature?
Anything that you need from the library that you would normally get from the library. If I walked in the door and said, you have a book on this topic, can I get it? So for example, I'm looking for Series 6, 6th exam. And so if you know what that is, then I need to know if you have the material the library doesn't have it. So my question is, where do you bring the material I'm asking about that you have that's going to be part of the library?
So, sounds like you have a couple of things. David, where are we building in Q&A for the?
Before we do it after the interactive part of that, but
We can move on. So we are doing some Q&A, so I don't want you to think you won't get a chance to ask any questions that you might have. So we'll have that in front of us. As for materials and resources, we're going to try to get everything that you possibly would be wanted. Everything that is here will be shined up and made clean and pretty. And we'll take over to the new location. But we'll be ordering a whole lot of new materials and resources. So I don't want anyone to feel that you're going to lose out on the collections or materials or resources. What a great staff that you work with every day. They're going with us. So everything will go over. So I want you to be assured that we will have that component taking place. Right now, we're just trying to think about some of the things that you want to see in the new location. However, we are here to answer whatever questions you might have. We all live in Charlotte. I think I can get home a little late if we need to stay on the left. But we'll be here to answer any questions that you might have. Of course.
I'm just gonna add for that specific question, you don't have to wait till 2025 to. We buy aerospace system, and so that's something that we can help you with, submitting a purchase request is something that we can do for the system, and then we'll consider that. Let's talk more about that for sure.
And one last thing, maybe before you get started, I know it's a little tight, so I know some of you will sit and wait. I'm going to step out here. Caitlin's in charge of our libraries. We'll both step out there. So if you want to ask us a question while you wait, we can answer that there. But if you want a question for the whole room here, we'll be here after this part of the section so that we can answer questions. So that way people can move around and get all of this out at once.
So we're gonna hold this portion to roughly about 20 minutes and make sure everybody has a chance to contribute to the board.
One quick question. The question that was asked there makes me think reference material, which is missing. So there's no intention of having reference material here, which I'm sure is not the case. So if we see a gap like that, can we just write in reference material and put it up there, number one, number two? Okay, I just wanted to
Absolutely, yeah.
clarify.
Some of those
I'm
may
good
fall
with
under
that.
some of the larger buckets, so, reference material may be under the
It may.
adult library
Or it may not.
section, but to be explicit that that's important to you, yeah, write that down and put it on here.
You're not limited to the things that you're seeing on them.
Yeah.
That's
Can you
right.
put the schematic back up?
Yeah.
Does that mean there's two buildings or is that?
This is part of the building as well, that's all one.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, with that, we invite you to come up and grab some of these materials and participate. And we're here with the design team, so this is
We'll all
very
be up
focused
here.
on the building itself, this first
If
section.
you're gonna come this way, just please be careful. There is some tape cord on the ground here.
We got those here.
It's not a door prize?
Just watch your step.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've got plenty. And then once we've
Watch
got-
your step.
Okay.
Design that meets the needs.
Absolutely.
It's not about the okay. Meeting our needs, right? That's right.
Y'all questions? I'm just gonna grab a few and bring them out here. Pull these out here too, so we have a little more access. The ones that like roll out, right?
That library is a lot bigger, right?
Yes, this new building will be the largest regional library in the whole system. So it'll be 2 stories. Vincent, do you know off the top of your head how many square feet this building is?
35,000.
This current building.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
You know what? This one is, it's
I was gonna say David might.
so it's, I think, just under 20.
Yeah. So it'll be like
Almost twice.
1.5 to 2 times the
And that's
size
like
of
one
this
thing
building.
I always notice here when I want a book. It's like never here.
Yeah.
It always has to get transferred. I mean, it's always like in the fancy neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And like
You need
never,
the stock. You need
never
the back
here.
stock to make sure it's
Yeah,
in.
the plan is, for this new building to have enough space to really have a good collection, so you don't have to order something, you can take it home that day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been one of the things that they've always mentioned to us, storage. Storage.
Yeah.
So they can have those backup copies. Hey.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
What's the guy?
Or like just the way, like I was in math. I wrote that down.
24,000.
Is this current
Will be larger.
About 1.5 times the size of this building.
It's like when you go, like, for example, Matthews, it looks so beautiful with all those, murals on the wall.
And so that's part of what we want to do with this building too, is perhaps partner with the university art program and get something, a big sort of artistic expression, either going up the stairs or coming to the front door, something that kind of guides you into the building. And so it's on one of those boards too, so that opportunity for to really give the new library its own sense of character. So it doesn't just feel like a building that has hosted by the university library. Its own, I think that each library sort of has its own type of character. I think that's kind of what this building is lacking right now. Is that it is something that when you think about the building, it's that you can identify it immediately.
It just looks like a big room with a bunch of shelves.
Yes, it does.
It's like it's functional, but it's not
it's
very.
something. It's something that, like, if your friend posted a picture when they're at the library, you would see it in the background and go, "You're at the library." Something that you would immediately spot it and go, "I know exactly where you are."
Or someplace you'd like to go,
Exactly.
actually. Yeah. It's nice to see that an effort is being made.
Yeah, there's a number of the libraries in the works of sort of getting upgraded and getting expanded to sort of really bring the system up to
It's a process.
this project, like David said, is slated to be the largest regional library branch, only smaller than the Uptown Library.
Yeah, I don't miss being up there.
You as well?
I've been.
This will get you off the main road.
What would I see in the future? University City.
It's not down the road.
Yes, it is.
I know, but I'm saying, I don't know. You don't have to. You don't know.
You know, I'm an Aggie, but I won't hold it against you.
You can't. When you here for the beat down,
I sure was.
we were sitting right out there on the backyard.
It was tough to watch, but I'm glad that was a good game.
Yeah, I'm glad we're doing it again. Yeah, that's great. I wish we could do it every year. Then. That's great. But they do. I'm thinking of what, 4 more years they're gonna do it again. Yeah, that was great.
You see how good of a turnout it was.
Yeah,
So they need to keep doing it so it can keep going.
I agree.
I imagine it's going to feel
I can see it happening several years, but wish we could do something like that, like they do in Florida. Even I was down there 20 years, and I used to go to it, and it was 80,000. But they had a big farm. This one would have a nice big ecosystem going on out there.
They'll attract more people from out of town and local.
I'm telling you, it was like going to the service station. I mean, just walking on the parking lot to get into the city hall. It was so much tailgating going on. All kinds of material. It was like being at one of those areas back then. And I said, wow, it would be nice if we could have something like that in North Carolina. Yeah.
And I was glad.
Right. I know. I was really nice friend.
Even though we know.
Yeah. But we can't go too much because the tables can easily turn.
Yes, sir.
We've both been down that road. We can't go too much.
But I'm glad you're here. Any questions for me?
Just really recognition. I'm not just like that was working in public health.
I don't know. I guess you call it modern. Oh yeah. I'm assuming that the one was on that second
That second floor is for predominantly class. So to let it a lot of natural daylight and give you the opportunity to look over to the lake.
okay.
That's one of the main focuses. We want to make natural connection because it's that big old lake and nobody can see.
Well, see, Sunday we were at the North Carolina Museum on Art and Rock, and I was there 40 years ago. I was in grad school at Carolina when a landscape architect came in to talk about finishing the front of all the landscapes. And I went to it, and I haven't been back since then. It's nice, but it's so dark. All that you got different levels that go underground, and then it kept the natural light out. And it might have had something to do with wondering if it would affect the display. I don't know. And right beside it, they have another building, a similar look to the one that you do for the library. And the light is all over the place. When you walk in there, you don't feel like you're in a cabinet.
Yes.
And it's open. And you can enjoy the art and feel from outside as you walk into the place. It's so different from the one that did 40 years ago. And even though it's a nice building, but it's dark. And it's
That's what we
right.
What you were seeing was floor to ceiling glass.
Mhm.
It has these fins at the edge of it. Those fins are intended to reduce the layout.
Okay.
What age?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we use some articulations.
Oh, okay. I turned on the Mountain Island Library here. It's got all that glass,
Yes.
and I go there to read, just to read sometimes. I take my books and I check out, and I sit in there and read for hours sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still closer to this, but I love to go over there, and it's nice to just relax, it's quiet, and it's great. I love it.
Great, no, I mean, yeah, the youth program, if not youth area, particularly, this is playing out.
It's great y'all did that
Space, so we can make sure that we get the right program on this. We want to encourage all that, right? Yes, I get that. Okay, cool. No, thank you.
Right. Okay.
Of course, they got to
Right.
They know they're trying to get great.
Right. And it'll be a legacy thing for them. You know, years later, their name is still going to be up there. So that was great that they did that partnership. I love that private-public partnership.
And it makes sense because they're already on the rest of it.
Right.
They're building it. Keep consistent. You don't have to worry about people bigger land and all that stuff.
Right.
They got all.
Yeah, we walked that lake a lot before the construction started. Now we can't walk it. But
yeah, once it's done,
it'll be nice. We can see already how it's going to look. Just looking at how they build it, how they do it. Nice concept.
and I'll tell
It's great to have that community input like that. I mean, you're looking at all those things go be in the internet, but it's good to see how people feel about it. Yeah.
because it matters. It matters. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were highly focused on this in the site. They asked us to come and try to come up with a creative way to facilitate it. This is one of the many ways.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we should do that when I was in planning school. Yeah, we should do all kinds of stuff. Get people actively involved. So,
I was on team green. I didn't get him on me. We're so excited. Yeah.
The library is not a public version, so you can get a buy-in easy. Everybody knows you're going to have all those things. Then it's going to the library.
Increases property value, adds amenities, nice space, all of them are not getting into nonsense.
Oh, there we go.
They were going to do somebody who's
Then it was.
Go Eagles, but don't tell nobody I said
Myself and my sister's 85th birthday this weekend in Raleigh. One of her daughters and her daughter's twin and one of the twins, all of them, Ellen with all of her. Oh, man. I got to the thing. I said, y'all just send me one email, no phone. After that, I never know it.
They went silent over there.
It's silent on me. It's okay.
I'm supposed to still keep
I have one right now.
You got more than that. Right here. What's the oh, no, you might want to. You still.
That was a good for design overall aesthetic.
I'm just putting stuff.
You can't put your bread down on the next page.
It's only green on things that are in budget.
Not on the expensive stuff.
This is Camilla. She told me to traded emails. Yeah. Helping with freaking.
Awesome.
Yeah. I brought her along to clean up on the right side.
Not on the expensive stuff.
And then she has a question about the exterior.
Oh,
We don't like to stick out in the sore thumb. That's what we do like to see.
We also want to draw people in, so the idea is that, especially on the more
So if you miss the primary,
we also want to show you don't stop. In most cases,
what types of spaces are important or not important to you. Types of experience,
So it's very
okay, so it's
We'll see.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and open this up for Q&A. First of all, I want to say thank you for participating. There are lots of dots, and lots of green, so that's very encouraging. And there are lots of stickies over here, so we know that you take this very seriously. So we're going to open it up for Q&A. Vincent's going to handle the building architecture side of it. For those of you who have library questions, we're going to handle that. We have more than enough staff on your side to help answer questions, and I failed to acknowledge that we have Caitlin Moen, who is our Director of Libraries, who is responsible for everything you see when you walk in one of our buildings. So she can answer any question that you might have, but that is it. I also know that we've gotten lots of questions about when this place will close and whether there will be access or whether there will be an interim location. Our goal is to keep this open as long as we can and walk across the street to the new one, having it open within a week or so. So we're not planning on an interim location right now. We're planning to be open. Lots of programming questions came up. Caitlin, I'll make Caitlin aware of those, but they definitely asked for more spaces for programming and meeting rooms, and also Caitlin to be sure to pay attention to senior level programming.
Yes.
They felt that that was very much needed for this community. I'm trying to think if there was anything else, but I probably have forgotten it, but I'll remember it in a minute. But let's go ahead and open it up to questions. So anything we can answer for you.
You said walk across.
It's a little bit. I am more. Okay. Duly noted, it's close, so 2 points in there. It's close, and second, that our goal is to not close this building until that one's ready to open.
One other question. That housing that they're putting over that, is that for the college? Is it mixed? Because previously, I think I heard that they were gonna have in some of the lower levels, shops and things like that. I don't know that I'm really interested in having the library over here near the restaurants and the bars and whatnot. You know, it was kind of nice and calm over here.
So that's a loaded question, and we're going to try to answer every aspect of it. So first of all, Greg Watson, the developer, is not here tonight, but David is channeling Greg. So what can you answer about the apartments, David?
The apartments are market rate apartments, all apartments. There's no retail in those buildings. There's one retail pad over there, which they haven't gone to they don't have a tenant for it, but it could be a restaurant. But it's close enough to, the everything across the lake that I think from an amenity standpoint, you can cross the bridge and have all the retail you want over there.
And to the second part of your question, we intend to be the best neighbor that any business or association has over there. So we're going to do our part to be a good neighbor in that neighborhood, and I think you'll enjoy the area.
Oh, I didn't think we were gonna be proud.
You thought I was taking the high road. But I definitely recognized what you were saying. Yes.
Is there any outside, are there any outside amenities, or do you have a lawn or something that's gonna be part of it?
Is that you or you?
Yeah, so there will be as David just described, there is a potential planned retail pad that's kind of between the library and where the lake and the crosswalk is over the bridge to Boardwalk Villas area. There's the space between that will be an outdoor plaza space for the library and dedicated for the library. It will be kind of shared with potential spill out for that outdoor retail pad as well. But there is planned outdoor space that will be dedicated to the library.
Yes.
Is there a map where we could see exactly where the library building is?
So do we have a footprint of the entire space or area?
I don't think we brought anything to show the site other than to say, I mean, it's directly across the bridge from Boardwalk Villas across the lake.
What did it used to be for? What was it now?
It's parking lot right now.
It's kind of in front of the Office Depot behind the Applebee's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Applebee's resonated. Everyone knows where that is.
Is that larger than what we have here?
So
In my mind, I can see Applebee's, but I don't see a lot of space.
So this location will be larger than, the new location will be larger than where we are now. We're at what, Caitlin?
24,500.
And we're going to,
Around 37,000.
so you're gonna be bigger. You're gonna be able to do this and.
2 stories as well. 2 stories.
An elevator.
Yes, with an elevator. That was the question I got, with
And
an
the elevator
elevator.
won't be off in a corner somewhere. It's going to be right somewhere in the middle, visible, easy to see, easy to get to.
Elbows won't have to touch. I'm working, I see you. I'm working my way up, so yes, ma'am.
I suggested that you have a ramp, which is very similar to what they have at Imaginon. 2 reasons. One, a lot of strollers, we have a lot of children at this branch and young families, and for people with special needs. So a ramp would be really, I saw these stairs, a ramp and an elevator, I think would really be excellent.
So 2 ways we're answering that, and I'll leave it to you also. One, children's is on the first floor. So all strollers and everything can come in through that front and stay on that floor. And we do have I understand. We have that elevator that will be big enough for that stroller to get on. I don't know how you want to answer anything more or how
No,
you take it to.
that was spot on.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Is it possible to have a cafe in the library?
So a cafe.
They're here.
Okay, so currently, you want to talk, Caitlin or David?
Well, what interests you about a cafe?
Something to drink.
Nice place to coffee, like a third place to work.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But not really hustle and bustle, just quiet.
Right, right. We have tried some cafe experiences in some of the other branches. And what we're planning now is a smallish area that would have some food
machines,
equipment. If you ever find a coffee machine that works well in a commercial application that tastes better than brown warm water, please let me know. We do struggle with that.
One of the university libraries has a Pete's little cafe in it, and it works really well.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the main library on campus is.
So Atkins Library?
Yeah, Starbucks, yeah.
So one of
Atkins
the,
Library has a pizza?
Yes, down below.
so lots of libraries have toyed with cafes or coffee shops, and as David shared, they are sometimes successful and sometimes
But
not.
there's so little in this community for just hanging out. I mean, Starbucks is pretty small. There's very few places for people just to.
So we've been hearing that a lot, and while we may not be providing a barista and a coffee bar, we're definitely striving to sort of capture that atmosphere, the coffee shop vibes, you know, how it feels to be able to hang out, have small seats, have bar top seats, have tables, and have sort of a quiet but not silent place for you to gather and get together. And we're definitely trying to capture some of that atmosphere, but we may not be providing the actual coffee.
Yes, ma'am.
How is the parking going to be? Is it outdoors or parking structure?
It is all on-site parking. There is no parking structure per se, but it's all on-site, on grid. So similar to like you just have out here, you park directly adjacent to the library and walk up to the entrance.
Will it be designated for those who are entering the library? Because I kind of worry.
No parking structure for the apartments.
There's another separate parking lot for the apartments,
But a lot.
and then a lot for the library.
Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
Those of us who live nearby are really worried
This is parking, okay.
about the traffic flow and the lack of parking. Because I mean, you have 2 parking spaces for every unit.
For the apartment complex?
Yeah, because it's gonna flow right into your library space
So,
immediately.
so those are the types of things we can share with the developer, but we're on the library side of it, so yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I would be concerned on your behalf for that.
Yeah. There was a question back here somewhere.
Oh, it was me, but
Oh.
I got lost in transportation.
Okay.
I'm excited about the change that is coming. I have 2 special needs children, and they are looking forward to the new library opening up, mainly to work on their social skills. I wanted to know, did you take in consideration, because my youngest son, he works at Barnes and Nobles at UNCC, and college campus parking is really expensive for the students and things of that nature. I wanted to make sure that you might kind of include that in your planning. Parking is going to be an issue, and because there will be people parking in those spots, you know, coming there, and it's going to kind of weed out some of the people who truly need it. But I just want to make sure you took that into consideration, because I don't know, at the point you decided to build it, those other apartments might not have been around or even on the plate. So, and I think about UNCC, the students there, because I know myself, I cheated a little bit. My son's case, we come here in the morning, and my caseworker, she couldn't pay for parking up at UNCC. So I said, I'll run you, you park your car here, and I'll run you up there and then come back. So that will take place. I mean, it might be something innocent, but when you're talking about a college campus and parking there is $5, period. I don't care if you're in there a minute, 2 seconds, and then $2 afterwards. So I'd like you to incorporate that somewhere. And plus the tenants that are there, that are living in the apartment. It's an excellent idea, you know, that you guys have come up with, but I just want you to have that on the burner somewhere.
Sure. Yeah, we can definitely make that known to the developer. And I don't want to speak out of turn yet, but we also have security here at this location. More than likely we'll go there, so part of their patrols will help us try to manage some of that.
There's no towing over here, I can tell you that.
Okay.
They have robbery, but not.
Okay, great. Yes, ma'am.
Validated parking, you know.
So validated parking works a lot of times, and it is something that we have at some of our locations. So it is something that could be considered.
And will there be multiple entrances from a disability and senior perspective, you know, large senior community and the wheelchair accessible, van accessible spaces are severely lacking all over the city. So to have multiple entrances, we have more of a frontage to have more spaces.
Yeah, well, and then I think the part that's gonna be the main entry and funneling in, the parking will be right across from the main elevation that comes in. So there'll be accessible parking spaces as close as we can get it, obviously, to the building. And then the paths coming across and along that sidewalk and making sure that all is accessible and coming in. Right now, the way it's looked at is there's really one main point of entry along that long facade. There's ways to get out to the secure plaza area that we talked about earlier, but that's not really meant to be an ingress point because we want to make sure that it's secure and safe as well.
I thought I saw a question up here. We have a full 30 minutes left. There are any more questions? Yes, ma'am.
Just on the parking thing, you might want to take a look at the new rec center on the Eastway, because they have a lot of spaces up in front for handicap parking, but it's a long walk if you are not in one of those spaces, because they've got it so that the parking goes all the way around the building, but the place does fill up, and so some of us don't have handicap stickers but have limited mobility. So think through this parking thing, because again, this is a senior community, and the access is going to be a challenge.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me if I can get it out. I think that an option is to have a shuttle for outlying areas. I'm not talking about cats. I'm talking about just in general that our area around here from high density communities, where they might already have parking. If there was a convenient shuttle that went not only to the library, but to the hospital and, major public facilities need better access from people that might not even have a car.
That's an idea we can certainly carry forward. That is a certain idea that we can share with the developers. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
On the other end of the spectrum, there are people who are lucky enough to have e-bikes or e-bikers and so on. Will there be safe access from that greenway across that street and into this area?
So I know that is a developer question, unless you know something, David.
What I would say is, if you're coming across the greenway, there is a protected or a signaled pedestrian cross right there. But I don't think there's anything else that's planned. But if you were on the greenway, you wanted to cross J.W. Clay, you can get over and then obviously go use the sidewalks along the lake. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess so much is going on in Charlotte, and it seems like they're just building everywhere. And so it's like they're taking this library and sticking it over there in a space, because now we're going to go across the street, hope that we get parking, hope that it's safe. And because I'm behind it, and are they going to tear down the old Chick-fil-A?
So, yeah, to address, there's a lot of questions about some of the parking.
Okay, the building.
Yeah, so we've heard a lot of questions about some of the parking and some of the access, whether it's by foot or by bike or parking. And we definitely want to stress that, like, we're not finding a spot and building this new library. This whole area is being redeveloped, and the library is part of the plan. It's not, there's a hole that we're sticking the library, but it's all one master plan that is being developed with this team so that it all, you know, we're not sitting on top of each other. There's that whole area is getting knocked down and rebuilt with apartments and shops and things that are more, I think, capture the character of that community. They want it to be walkable and accessible from the one side and easy to, you know, drive to and park at. You know, if you're coming one direction on JW over here, you're crossing 4 lanes of traffic before you can get into the library parking lot. And that's what we're trying to avoid in this new space, is really creating a space that, you know, we're not stacking people on top of each other. This library is part of this larger development.
Well, I don't mean to complain, but that's the way it appears that things are happening in Charlotte, is that they just keep putting in things. Where I live off of Old Concord Road, they just keep putting in more developments and more developments, but they don't put in more streets to carry the traffic. So then you gotta leave home earlier to get to work, and I'm retired, thank God. But the thing is that why don't, along with doing some of those other things, when do you plan to build the streets so that people have access instead of just, that's why I feel like we're just, oh, yes, we could put in 30 houses over there. But where's the street? Where are you gonna put the streets to carry the traffic?
So certainly we heard you. We heard you, and we'll make note of that. I want to do a couple of things. I saw a question go up here. Yes?
Will the master plan have access to the greenway at all?
Yeah, part of it is that whole area around the lake, the shops at University City. Is they want it to be accessible from the greenway. They want it to be accessible on foot, by bike, by car, by light rail. You know, part of it is really creating this development that any type of person can get to, and not just, you know, putting a building down in a sea of parking lot or anything like that.
So I don't know if you've met Crystal Green, who's our marketing and communications person. I'm putting Crystal on the spot, as I often do. We do have a website that speaks to the University City development. One of the things we'll try to do is get some more information loaded, either the footprint of the location, so that you can see that. It won't happen tomorrow, but as soon as we get it, we'll put it up, and that way we'll know. And Deborah will try to get some hard copies for you that you can put out here and go with that. Yes?
Yes, so when they build apartment, they also cut down so many trees. Is there any plan to plant some more trees in the development?
I don't.
So by zoning requirements, they are required to replant, you know, or replace the number of trees that they've placed down. It varies depending on the amount of development that you do, but by zoning requirements, they are required to plant more.
So we're here to take questions. I do want to give you a few minutes, though, to talk about what you saw up here and give them a chance to work through it. And so that we can, for us, seeing a nod of the head this way is a good thing, this way is not a good thing. But we do want to give you a chance to hear what where you put your dots, and give us a chance to hear more about it. Because I know sometimes a dot can only say, I like that. But we want to hear more about what it says. Do you want to run it, Vincent?
Yeah,
or Dana, you're running? Okay.
This side, and Emerson's going to help us out on this side.
Yeah, so I think, you know, just from a high level, what we've seen here, I think that we have a lot of green dots in some of these like nice natural outdoor spaces, and really kind of that connection with the indoor outdoor. See that we kind of have a few red dots here with this staircase design, having kind of integrated, you know, yes, so definitely want to make sure we kind of get some feedback here and kind of better understand, you know, what maybe wasn't resonating with you all. And then with this one here, it also looks like we had, you know, a handful of red dots with that staircase and that kind of overall design. So would love to hear some more about that one. And then it looks like over here, we had a lot of nice green dots around some of the youth programming spaces. Really some interest around those, as well as our work lounge areas. And again, someone mentioned having a third place. So I think these green dots are really starting to speak to wanting to have that third place in the library, so that you have different areas to kind of go and do your work. But it does look like we do have some red dots here, so we'd love to hear more about this and, what wasn't resonating.
This gentleman right there can answer your question.
I did hear a lot of it's
With
dark.
the red dots there. We spoke to him about it and he kind of enlightened us. It was more of a safety issue for children. I used to do workers' compensation claims, so you immediately zone in for protecting. And he answered all our questions very good. It was me and a couple others.
But yeah, no, we would love to hear, if you want to explain some of, I heard like that one, for example, we heard a lot of, it seems very dark, it seems very dim. It's not inviting, was some of the feedback I had heard on that. I think on that stair, some people were saying it looks dangerous. You could trip off the side, or my kid's going to jump off the side. But yeah, please, raise your hand, speak up if you want to sort of explain some of those other ones as well. Like on the bottom right, there's that one stair kind of in the middle of the bottom right that has some red dots on it. We want to sort of hear some of the explanation behind some of these opinions so that we know.
Yeah, I saw you raise your hand.
Well, I'm not gonna go to the dots, but I wanted to put a green dot and I couldn't find where to put it. I wanted to see where the large meeting rooms were gonna be. And I didn't see any large community meeting rooms for a green dot.
I can tell you from the South County renovation, we expanded their large community room on the first floor, but we also provided a smaller community room on the second floor, which has been utilized remarkably well. And so our goal would be to have a large one on the first floor, for no other reason, make it easier for that, but to have something else on the second floor.
Would the large meeting room bottom floor, would it have an outdoor exit, like after hours, activities and stuff, maybe going backwards?
I think it would probably do that, and we that might be a code requirement because of the size. So, yeah.
David, the way in the early on planning of what we're looking at now, the community room that we're looking at in the new facility will be larger than this room that we're currently.
Yes, ma'am.
So that was one of the things that I was actually looking for in the children's activity room for story times and things like that. So I know here it gets a little full, it gets full pretty quickly. But yeah, seeing that now, it looks very spacious and.
Yeah, so this is actually at the South County Library. So again, this was, a library that we visited here as a good precedent for, some of the things that we'd like to incorporate for the new University City Library. So really taking cues from some of the things that were really successful there and starting to implement that here.
The one on the right, is it more like a soundproofing wall to help kind of keep the noise down?
Yeah, so this is just to enclose the youth room. Oh, did I press that?
No. I think it's on the timer.
I thought it was touchscreen. Yeah, so this was just to kind of enclose it, but yes, it does have some acoustic properties so that, the children's zone is not necessarily exposed to, quieter areas.
Great.
Yes.
Yes.
South County has a maker's room or something like that for their patients.
They have the maker space.
Yeah, I don't know if you utilize that yet. Is that something that is considered here?
So we've found in the library, I think it has found that a lot of those maker spaces, the access to technology is very important to people, but we want to be a little more flexible with our real estate in the building. We want to have all of that access to technology like the maker space and some of the other libraries, but also have the ability to use that space for other types of events. Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question about, I guess it's a study pod, but it also looks as though we could do a podcast
in there?
Are you talking this one?
Yes. That was perfect.
Yeah, so with that image, we were really just starting to, pull together the idea of having enclosed spaces for people to be able to study that also have technology. So the intent wasn't necessarily that that was a podcast room per se, but really just giving you a space to have that enclosed focus work.
And part of that technology too is if you have a video interview for a job, a lot of things these days are on Zoom or on Skype. So being able to have a space where you can use that technology and close the door and have private, quiet area that you're not going to be interrupted. If you're doing a podcast, you can use that space as well, but it's intended to be very flexible.
Yeah, the intent is that it's go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The intent is also that there's visibility. There's acoustic privacy, but visual connection to the rest of the space as well.
So that one you see is dual seats, but we're also looking into single seats as well. Yeah.
From a tutoring perspective, the rooms that you have here are great, because any parents can look at the here. Kids are not, don't have that visual distraction. So something like that, I see spaces that, allow for that, and having plenty of those rooms.
Yeah.
And I don't know the ability to reserve them maybe a day or two in advance. I don't know if that's something to consider too, as opposed to the day of.
But always keeping safety in mind, no tucked away rooms.
Yes.
Libraries, some libraries in some cities have a history of attacks and so forth. So
Yes.
bottom line is, any room you've got tucked anywhere has to be visible.
Yes, safety and visibility is
Absolutely.
very important, and we are making sure that there are no shenanigans happening.
That was what I was going to say.
And monitored. So it's not just visibility, which is natural, but then also monitored by cameras.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then we'll come to you.
Okay.
Yes, her and then you. We're coming to you. Yes, ma'am.
In the adult section, I know our stacks here are so tall that I need steps to reach the top shelf. Are these gonna be lower?
She's asking about height of stacks.
Yes, so we always want to make sure that we deliver the collections that people are looking for. However, in many of our new buildings, we are bringing the shelf heights down, which lets a lot more light through, a lot more visibility, and you can kind of see in the whole building a lot better. So balancing act, but you'll definitely not see these giant shelves sitting in the middle of the floor at the new.
Yeah, you won't have to be on your tiptoes.
Okay, good. Yes, ma'am.
Back to the stairwell, or on that first poster to the right, where the staircases are. I think the description says something like community art or artistic something. So it wasn't clear if our dots were in favor of community art or against the staircase design. So it might be worth clarifying what people meant by their.
Yes, so we've been looking at the idea of starting to incorporate the, having an artful moment around the stair where people are going to be going up and down and just really having it be an engaging experience. So that was part of this. It was kind of a dual question here. So commentary on the stair as well as the different kind of art pieces was really the intent. So, yeah.
Along those lines, I was just at a new library in Florida that I intentionally visited for an art exhibit. So to the extent that you can have space that will have revolving exhibits would be awesome.
Yeah.
Great. That's great. All right, I think we're good on that side. Then we're gonna move over here to this side.
Yeah, we really appreciate, everyone taking the time to sort of dig into some of these more open-ended questions. This first floor, like we said, is really about the area, about the neighborhood, and what we want to celebrate, about the University City area in our new building, but also, what we want that new project and new library to embody, as we look toward the future. And we heard a lot of, University City needs to be sort of its own city. Instead of just a piece of uptown, University City needs its own sort of city center. And we also, a lot of outdoor programming and access to the outdoors. And I do want to say, like, part of this design process, we're working a lot to sort of bring the inside out and bring the outside in, both in design and just visibility and light and fresh air. And then too, we heard a lot of, we want it to be walkable and human scale. We want it to have a senior program and access to the community. And that's very important to us too as we develop this. The library isn't just a box. It's part of the community. It's a place for everyone to sort of come to and meet up with people and then go off from there too, to connect to other parts of the community. And looking at these two boards, I mean, I love how positive everyone was. Everything's up in the ones and twos. This is really great. This is important. There's only a few things down in the bottom, and some of those are just because we ran out of space up top. But again, we want to be very sensitive to the senior programming and children, youth programming as well, and making sure that the sound doesn't bleed into the from one group to the other. We hear a lot of natural light and daylight, as well as a tutoring area, both for students and for adults who want to continue learning. And I think that's very important to us and to the library as a whole program. We want to create this space that sort of enhances your access to the world. I mean, the library is sort of a point for you to connect to anything you need to find.
Real quick, Emerson.
Yeah.
So I am curious, not to put anybody on the spot. I'll tell you, I'm a parent. I'm an adult, so there's one that says kids, kids, kids. Is that like a kids are on my nerves? Keep them separate?
No,
or
up top is
or
good.
is that,
if it was down here?
hey,
it would've
kids
been,
are
yeah.
great. I love the little angels. And again, I'm a parent myself too, so I get it. I've been on both sides of it. So, yes.
Did you see that? My kids have never annoyed me today.
Right.
Just really close to it. You should see the Vincent's kids.
It's other groups.
The point of that is that this is the second highest youth readership in this county, and it serves as such an important youth population.
Yes.
And it just cannot get lost in the shuffle. To me, it's
Got
like
it.
if students and young readers are the indicators for how many prisons to build, let's make sure we're getting young readers out of this library.
Amen. Amen.
I say that because my children, 2014, 2015, and 2016, and 2022, the library was their foundation to get their homework done, science projects, school hours, community come in Saturday, learn how to file away books and, cut out coupons. So I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. Thank you.
We do too. We do too. Go ahead, Emerson. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, that's a great point. And another thing that we heard a lot of was everyone loves the Imagine-On. We would love to have that type of engagement, something that, the kids can come to and they're not bored after the reading is done. They have time to explore and sort of stay excited and spend more time here. And that's definitely very important to us as we develop these spaces. I mean, when we came here today, we had to kick the teens over to that space just so we could use this room. And so with this new library, we want to make sure we have space for everyone to sort of have that home and not have to shuffle them around because someone else needs the room. Yeah.
So, kids, in terms of age range, can spill over to kids on campus. So, I'm curious, and maybe want you to, library folks, to think about how we might better collaborate or engage with the campus library to sort of foster children here, children there, back and forth, something along those lines. So some of us might mentor first generation students, that kind of thing. So just a programming area to perhaps explore.
Great point.
Yeah, I think that's definitely important.
All right.
We can take maybe 1, 2 more, and then we'll wrap up.
Yes, ma'am.
I know that there was a lot of emphasis on outdoor activities and whatnot. My question is, the only outdoor activities I saw over here as well was facing the street. What would that look like structurally, if there were going to be some more outdoor activities?
So the outdoor space that they're looking to do now would be kind of on the lake side of where the library will rest. And it's the short end of it is kind of along the street path, but the bulk of it is kind of on like the side of the building, so that it's not, and it will have, it will have whatever it needs to from a security and privacy perspective, but not to where you feel like you're behind this, this fence and it doesn't feel like it's an inspiring place to be. So the idea is that it's an extension of the library that will be off the street, but we still, from egress and life safety and all things, we'll have to provide access and make sure it's safe from an exiting perspective, either back into the library or out of it. So, but it's meant to be a separate space, not necessarily with street frontage.
It's not one of those speak now or forever hold your peace. We do have a wonderful staff working here. We have staff, raise your hands so that they can see who works here. They are listening. They have ears that they can listen to. If you come in next week, something wakes you up in the middle of the night screaming, they will be here the next day. You can come in and say, hey, I thought about this a little bit longer, but we're all here to hear your thoughts and everything. We'll make sure that they get to Gensler or that they get to the developer to see what they can do about it. But we are really excited about this new opportunity. We can tell that you are as well, that you came out and took the time to share with us your concerns. Means so much to us. We value that input and we will use it to build you the library that you are hoping for. A couple of things that in closing, a few of us are going to be around. If you want to keep talking, we can stay around a few minutes before you close at 8, right, Deborah? So that crew will want to get us out of here as quickly as they can, but we're here and we're happy to answer questions for you. But we're so glad that you came out tonight. Really glad that Gensler was here to help us with this. AFM, we cannot do this work without you. But certainly, we are really excited to bring you a new University City library. Atrium has been a wonderful partner to us, allowing us to be on this space. And we understand that liberating us to our new property will give them an opportunity to do more here as well. Deborah, I think you wanted to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you again for coming out. I appreciate the support and all of the things that you shared tonight. I wanted to thank our county partners, and without the county commissioner's support, this project would not even be possible. So thank you for that. You can check our website, cnlibrary.org. We're going to put up some updates on the project as we go along. Not tomorrow, but soon. And then also, University City is turning 30 on Valentine's Day. We're having a special celebration, so we wanted to extend an invitation to all of you to come out and help us celebrate our 30th birthday anniversary here in the University City area. So that's all. Thank you all.
Is that all day?
It's from 10 to 6, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
So thank you again, and we're so glad you came out. Travel safely home, and we'll be here until the new one is built. Thank you much.
Look at it again.
Yes, this is the South County one. Do you want to see the
new one? Yeah, look at it again.